Jerry D. Rhino Clark of ClubRhino.net. We're here at the Jim Rohn Leadership event, and we have had an opportunity to learn from some of the masters, some of the legends, some of the giants of our industry in regards to the industry of self-empowerment, the industry of personal and professional empowerment, and that's Jim Rohn, Dennis Waitley, and who I have with me right now, Mr. Brian Tracy, who has been a big influence in my life a number of years ago when I was 18 or 19 years old. When I first got started with personal development, one of the programs that I plugged into was the Psychology of Achievement. I plugged into that program, and I started going to Brian Tracy seminars, and I started reading everything he got, and I started buying everything he got. And the same thing I'm going to suggest for all of you is go to briantracy.com and really take a look at a lot of the information that Brian has. But not only that, but pick up the information. But we have an opportunity to have Brian share some insights with us today, and I've been waiting a long time to have this opportunity. So, Brian, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jerry.
All right. Now, Brian, one of the things that's very interesting is from my perspective, because I produce a lot of programs, but I don't know of anyone who produced as many programs as you have on personal achievement, on really maximizing the results and success, like the psychology of selling or the psychology of achievement or the luck factor or, the advanced selling strategies. We can go on and on and on. You got all these programs. And I remember a couple years ago where I was getting an opportunity to share a stage with you at a program with Robert Kiyosaki, yourself, and myself. And one of the questions I asked you behind stage, I don't even know if you remember this, but I said, Brian, how did you come up with all of these programs, especially being that you tell everyone at your seminars, you didn't even graduate from high school, and all of a sudden you're coming out with all these type of programs. When did the thirst for knowledge and for growth happen? And then why did you decide to start putting all this together on tapes and so forth for people in books and all that?
Well, it's very simple. As you mentioned, I didn't graduate from high school, and so I started off poor, working at laboring jobs for several years, working in construction, always broke, driving an old car, sometimes even living in the car. And one day I began asking, why is it that some people are more successful than others? Now, I learned later in life that every so often a question or a quote or something will hit you, and it will actually knock you into a different direction. And this knocked me into a different direction. And so I just began asking, why is it that some people make so much more money or live in better homes or are wealthy and have nice cars? Because I saw people around me who didn't seem to be much more talented than me or smarter or better in any way. And as I began seeking the answers, I found them. Now, the next thing I did is I did what I found. If I've found that people who are successful go to bed early and get up early and get their day started properly, well, I started to do it. If I found that successful people planned each day in advance and then set priorities and started on their most important task, I did that too. I found that successful people have written goals, so I wrote down some goals. I still remember coming across that idea, successful people have written goals. So I wrote down a series of goals on a piece of scrap paper, that's all I had, and within 30 days my life changed. And I looked at that scrap of paper and almost all the goals had been achieved. I hadn't even thought about them, but my whole life began to change, almost like you're driving in bump cars, and suddenly you start getting bumped from all directions, and all the bumping moves you towards your goals. Then I heard that successful people treat other people well. They're honest, and they're courteous, they're polite to other people, they're patient, they're friendly, they encourage other people. So I said, well, I'll do that. I can do that. Like the song, I can do that.
Right.
And I began to get results that were absolutely phenomenal. I went from rags to non-rags. I went from living in a boarding house to a rented apartment, and then to an apartment loaded with furniture and nice clothes and cars and restaurants. And I couldn't believe it. I looked at people on both sides of me who were doing the same old things, getting no results. So I became so excited about this. Wow, if I can find out how to succeed in a particular area and do it, then I can shorten the amount of time it takes me. If I can teach other people to do it, I can enable them to do it as well. So that's what led to my becoming hungry for learning, and then sharing, and then recording the material that I had learned that worked. And each time I came across a new idea, I would write it down, and I'd read and read and read and read, and I'd research, and I'd make notes, and then I'd design it into a program. And now I have more than 300 audio and video learning programs in 22 languages on something like 30 different subjects that are used in corporations all over the world for training in leadership, management, sales, personal development, success, time management, goals. But they all came from this hunger to learn this material and to share it with other people.
That's